Hello everybody and welcome back into Grand from CBT channel. Today we're going to be flying the Piper Seneca II CIS edition in the LVIQG tail sign, and we're going to be flying this. I thought it would be a good idea to fly VFR in Spain, and we're going to be going from one of my favourite airports, Almería. We're here and we're in this sort of really either distasteful or beautiful colour. I actually really like this colour of the Seneca II. The LEAM edition is actually a Southern American tail sign. I was under the impression it might have been Latvia, but obviously not. The developers were Mexican. So South American, flying in Spain. And we're going to be flying up to Valencia, a very well-known popular airport, but maybe not as well-known as places like Barcelona or Portugal. But still popular to go to, and we're going to be taking the bird via Ibiza Airport. So we're not actually planning on doing any touch and goes at Ibiza today, or Ibiza, if that's how you say it. We're actually only transitioning their airport airspace, and the reason is because they have a whole island to themselves basically. So I want to just check it out, and also it's you know, this is the sort of plane realistically that would do this flight. It's a nice VFR day. We've done VFR England, it's time for VFR Spain, so say hello to Europe everybody. And by the way, I've checked the fuel and the oil levels, so we do need to do a little bit of refueling, but last time, if you recall, we did in fact recharge those engines with a fresh batch of the oil. So we see there we got oil 100. That's pretty much full on both. Now, I was going to use the battery today just to demonstrate how it is used. If you want to, we could pull it out and just click it. So my understanding is now things in the cockpit will be powered up. Let's pull that back. We don't actually need it, so the battery is usually pretty good. Let's get the pitos off. We are going to do a checklisted flight, and we're going to get in the cockpit first and talk through it. This looks absolutely gorgeous though. I was flying here last night as a little bit of practice. The Seneca II, the shape, I think I'm slowly falling in love with it. I absolutely love the Beach Squad Baron, but this, with those sort of far forward engines and this just slick low to high wing design, is it's really cool. It really is. And obviously the Baron has the mid-wing design, whereas this is, I don't know, it just looks very different even though it's pretty much the same. Right, we're going to hop in. It is just me and a passenger today in the co-pilot seat, so how do we do this? Can't remember how we open the door. Ah, there we go. Yeah, let's hop in. Let's check out the cockpit. So I have actually just done an update last night. If everybody's wondering why X-Plane 12 might be looking a little bit different, maybe a little bit sharper, so X-Plane 12.4.1 was released. Since downloading it, my sort of 60 frames per second cap has been removed. It shot up to 180, and I had to cap it again at 60. And I also noticed a sort of shimmery sharp effect, so it's almost as if I had VSync on, but that is not on, so I think this is like a permanent change. It does look very sharp, it's just that fuzziness that I'm not too keen on. Anyway, we got to go in. The parking brake is set. It wasn't all the way, but it is set. The gear is down. We have most switches, as you can see down here, are switched off, and the most important ones I think are probably just off the batteries and the alternators, just to make sure they don't run out. We have the fuel selectors down here. They're also in the off position. The trim here is in the neutral. We have oxygen on board. Now this is over pressurized, and I'm going to show you why. So if you have a oxygen here, so 2700, usually it would be between 1800 and 2000. So what we're going to do is do it back to 1800. We'll do it about there. As you can see, it's gone down. Now if we bring it back up again and go to exactly 800, the number, it should be in the green. So just about, and if we press the mask, I don't know if you can hear it, but it does breathe through it when the plane is running. Anyway, everything is off, everything is good. We've got our documents on board, our arrow documents, we've got our weigh and balance sheet, performance charts. We are going to be using a performance chart, so we're only going to be doing 55% power today, so 55% is about 18 gallons per hour. I have been calculating the fuel prior to this, just so we could save a little bit of time, but we will be doing the standard departure briefings and everything else. Gone for 55 because we want to try and do a scenic flight. We don't need that, we just need the performance charts. I'm not sure why they're down actually. Having some issues with the persistence on this plane still. It will not save states. So here we are. We have a cruise level of 6,000 feet is planned. VFR departure to the northeast. We're going to be going at 2,300 inches of excuse me, 2300 RPM. Now I don't know if you can see that, but that will give us about, that will be 55% power at 2300, and the inches on the manifold will be at 6,000 feet, about 26.4. So that's going to give us 18 gallons per hour. Let me bring up the window for you so we can talk through the flight planning and things like that. The window should be on screen. So as usual, folks, using the sky vectors, we are going to be tracking today a series of VORs, and we're going to be doing headings as well. So rather than tracking directly to, we're going to be doing it directly from and to. So anybody who wants to learn about VORs, a good chance today. We've tuned in for the LEAM departure from our area all the way up to Valencia via Ibiza Airport. On the outbound track, we're going to be tracking the AMR VOR, which is a 114.1 on a course of 054. We'll track outbound from that for about, you know, we've got 200 miles, so we track outbound as long as we can keep the signal. And then when we get over the halfway point, about 100 miles, we're going to switch over to the IBA, which is the Ibiza VOR, which is a 117.8. And that will just allow us to pull and push the tail a little bit. Afterwards, we're going to be tracking outbound and also, you know, pushing away from the IBA as well. And when we get to the halfway point, we probably will pick it up before, but we'll switch to the VLC for the Valencia Airport. And of course, I've got the frequencies written down so we can pre-program them in. Going over to fuel, so this is the fuel, so we need block fuel. Total block fuel today is not been calculated yet because I was waiting for you lot to come on stream. So let's get the calculator. I have calculated trip fuel at 34 gallons, reserves at 17, climb fuel about 10 minutes is giving me about 10 gallons, and then I've only done about 3 minutes of taxi fuel, so 3.6. Let's get the calculator. This will give us our total block fuel for the trip. So 34.1 plus 17 plus 10.8. So what we can do with 10.8 actually is we can round that up to 11, and 3.6 we can round that up to 4 as well. And today the reserves are only 30 minutes because we're VFR. So plus 4 on the reserves. We don't really need that much fuel really. We only need 66, and that'll be in gallons. So that'll be, of course, you know, then divided by 2 for each engine. So 33 in each. 33 gallons in each engine, and that's just a really quick way of doing it. Okay, well, we can close our window. That is the flight briefing complete, and we'll go for the departure briefing when we're in the air. But you've basically got the departure briefing. It'll be an outbound from the VOR. We'll probably be making a left-hand turn depending what agency gives us if it's available. Let's close the window. And we're going to get the... In fact, what we do need to get up on here is the chat list. So this is the documentation that comes with the aircraft. Really, really cool. We've got normal procedures, which I like to use. This is the in-depth one. And it will teach you everything you need to know about it. So all we need to do for this is go straight to... before starting engines. So see silences. Let's get the door closed. In fact, no, let's keep it open. We'll do the refueling first. So weight and balance. We've got 9.2 gallons, we'll put it up to 33 each. Roughly 33.2, that's pretty good. I thought he was going to be a little bit off, considering some other planes I've been flying. It hasn't been that precise. Anyway, 33 in each, and just me on board. We can put a little bit of baggage in the nose, I guess. Or we can stick a little bit in the back and then just iron it out. So it puts the... So you can see here, aft baggage in pounds. There's a lot of contradictory measurements, so pounds with gallons, and then you can change it. You could also change it here to inches and hectopascals if you wanted, but I'd prefer it in things like kg. So we stick 53, we stick 23 pounds in the back, maybe 25 pounds in the back. Door is coming closed. Lock it and latch it. Okay, seats, seatbelts, harnesses are secure, parking brake is on, set, circuit breakers, radios are also off, cowl flaps are nice and open, alternator air is off and alternators. It says alternators there on, so we'll go ahead and follow it to the T, shall we? And that will probably be the battery as well. Fuel selectors to the on position. Mixtures are coming full rich. Throttle, half travel, so it's basically in the position it needs to be for start. About 1,800, 1,000 RPM will give you a, you know, this sort of position. or this position will give you about 1000 RPM, which is what you need for starting. Half travel, propeller full forward, master switch is coming on, so master switch is already sort of on. I think this means, and this is referring to the batteries, ignition switches are these things, conveniently assigned to the Honeycomb. We need all of these magnetos on. Propeller area clear, so it wants you to do the starter, prime the engine, and do the throttle. What we're going to do is prime it before we start it. Let's get the beacons on. We won't need nav lights today, it's in daytime. So we're going to hold down this prime button right down here. Let me zoom in for you. I'm going to wait for a sort of buzzing sound, and we can hear the fuel going around the engines. We will also see it peak over here, so if we were to check the fuel flow, one of the needles would sort of be shaking about because there's fuel going through the system. And it's a hot day, so we might have to hold it a little bit longer. So we're holding it, we count, 1, 2... Just keep waiting. You can, of course, alternate the pumps, do it like that. I might make it quicker. There's the fuel flow, so it is peaking a little bit. Temperature-wise is almost 20 degrees outside. So the oil and fuel is going to be hot, so probably more viscous. Possibly. I don't know how hot it has to be to make it more viscous, but it might do. So what we can do, so sometimes last night I didn't actually hear the buzzing sound, and I just checked and it said engine ready. Now we might be able to do it from start from cold like that, so we weren't actually hearing it. Usually I do, but again it might just be the heat that's preventing it. We'll hold that one as well and do the same on the right engine. Let's go for a left engine start, so clearing the prop. And it comes alive pretty quickly. That was actually really easy. I usually expect to hear that, as I say, the buzzing of the fuel pumps, but today this airport for some reason no. Right, crack on with the checklist. So engines are started, oil pressure down here, so we can sort of do the instrument view for the engines. We can see, in fact, what we can do, we can get the Avitab up on the in-cockpit Avitab. Let's do that. That's a little bit easier for us. Put it right down there, right on the yoke. So we're keeping an eye on now the temperatures and pressures. We got a good, a bit low actually on the oil temperature. I thought it would have been warmer than that. Cylinder head is fine. Oil pressure is good. Batteries charging. We've got the alternators there. And then it says alternators and gyro pressure. So gyro pressure is hidden over here on the right side. So it's between 4.8 and 5.2, which is what we need. If you have it too low, I think I demonstrated this before, but you'll see that we'll get a gyro pressure warning up here. So that's usually below 800 RPM. Keep bringing it back. It's actually a bit difficult to get it now. Maybe because we started from cold to dark. Yeah, not getting the low gyro pressure. That's interesting. Let's bring them back up. We'll maintain between 1000 and 1200 for the warm-up. So we've done the engine start. We're going to go for the taxi checklist. Very simple start though. I don't think it's that difficult to learn. You will be able to get the feel with the checklist as time goes on. So chokes removed, taxi area it's fairly clear here. We're in GA parking, but the airport in general is pretty deserted. There's no other traffic. Throttles, brakes, steering instruments, heater and defroster. So we don't need those today. What we can do is keep the heater off and we keep the air conditioning wide open there. The fan is on, and if we need to, we can have defrost. Fuel selector, so this is for crossfeed. This will be to iron out any differences within the tanks, although we did see there was a slight indifference. We'll see if it gets corrected and the autopilot is off. Right, let's go. So we'll get the charts back up. What am I doing? We'll get the charts on here. So airport, we're at LEAM today. LEAM Almería, the old ship port, of course. I don't know if it's still a ship port today. It probably isn't. It's probably a tourist attraction, but back a couple of 100 years ago, it was a main ship port, especially like during the early 9th century. Well back then, so decades ago. Hundreds of years ago. Q&H is not available. do have an airport chart, so we're going to have to get probably a 07, I think, for departure. We're over here on GA parking somewhere. I don't think we're even marked on it. Anyway, let's get the frequency tuners. So we need a course. We're going to do the course of 054. So that's 054. I'm going to do the head into the runway, and we'll tune in 114 with the avionics on. So let's get those on. So 114.1 is actually already tuned in. That's convenient. And then on the backup, we'll tune in the Ibiza, which is the 117.8, and we'll just wait till we pick that up as we get a little bit closer. Transponders coming to standby. Okay, so that's pretty much the systems ready. The systems are going to be warming up. I want the oil temperature though to be a little bit more in the green than that. We have to wait till it gets in the green for takeoff. ATC now, so you have 1228. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's anybody in the area to give us clearance. Yeah, there's absolutely nobody. It's dead out here. Based on the wind direction, we have, yeah, probably 07, is it? Yeah, 07 for departure, so we'll take a 07. Alright guys, we're going to taxi via via Tango, another hold short of Sierra 1, or Tango 1. Let's get it going. Brakes released. Flight controls free and correct. Instrumentation is good, nothing's going out of balance. And I have got the headset on, I've got the game volume turned up. Let me just check the brakes. Got the game volume turned up to max. If anybody's still having issues with it, I can always turn the game volume up by taking the headset off, but I'll have to mess around later on with it to get it precise. So bear with me on the sound side of things. Just 1 second, let me just get the rudder controlled. So we need to warm it up a little bit. Want the system kicking. Just realised we forgot our passenger. Oh well, just me flying today. It's going to be good. It is going to be good. LVIQG. Really love this livery. I know people don't like this kind of colour, but it is a really nice little plane to fly, and I've come to love it over the last few weeks. Right, there we go, gyro alert. So it's finally coming up with low pressure. Check where we are down here. So should be able to taxi all the way down to Alpha Bravo. Oh, I see, Bravo, and then straight on. So there's 07 over there on the side. I'm just going to follow this yellow line, see where it takes us. Okay, there's Bravo. We're going to pull out. Fantastic airport. Really do recommend checking out this airport if you want to do some circuits, some late night flying as well. There's some really good airports in the area to get to, so within a short distance if you're practicing VOR especially. Tons of frequencies out here to choose from. Let me know as well if you're noticing that sharpness, that sort of fuzziness of the game now. Again, I don't really understand what's happened on the update, but and the frame rate, especially 180 yesterday, having to be capped again, plus the fuzziness like the VSync was on. They tweaked something in the engine there, and something in the performance side of things at least. Okay, Sierra 1, we'll hold short here, we'll do our run up. There's barely any wind present today, we've got like 1 or 2 degrees, so we don't really need to worry about nose direction too much. It's coming from that direction down there, from the south. Here around we go, holding point Sierra 1. Parking brake coming on, just excuse me for a sec guys, there's an issue here with the rudder, so it's neutralised but it's slightly off. Feels slightly off here, so let's do a little calibration. Okay, brilliant. Probably time for the warm-up test. Let's do charts again. So before takeoff, ground check, parking brake is on, the mixtures are rich, props are fully forward, we've got 1000 RPM just below it. Let's get it up to 1000. So it's the first flight of the day. We're going to have to do manifold drain, prop controls, check feathering, so it'll be a max 300. It's very quick for the initial check. Very quick movement, otherwise the engine will shut down probably. So 1000 RPM is checked, and then 1900. Okay, nice and stable at least. And then of course check governor. Prop controls are still full forward, alternate air on and off, so keep an eye here on manifold pressure and things, and RPM if they drop. They shouldn't though, they shouldn't drop too much, if at all, because it is turbocharged after all. Alternator on and then off, and magnetos check, max drop 150 RPM and max differential 50. Right, we need this left panel over here, so I've got them assigned to keys just to make it easy. We'll go for the, we'll do the right engine first today. It's about 100 RPM drop there, which is normal on the plane. I don't ever think I've ever had a differential of more than 50 or more than 150 on each. Okay, right engine's done, left engine. So left magneto, left side. That's good. And the right magneto. You see there the drop, not too significant, and there's no manifold pressure drop, which is also something we need to take into account. So now we're in the green there on the oil temperatures. Cylinder head is in the green. If we didn't have green on the oil temps, again it might be the viscosity is affected because of the heat, and we'd also need to just wait a little bit longer, but usually that is something that would happen in cold weather. Right, 4.5 to 5.2, so it's a little bit lower on this one. We are between that 800 to 1000 RPM again. That'll do. Fuel selectors are coming back on, so now we've done the in fact, what is the differential between the engines? 4.6 and 3.32, so there's a bit more of a difference there than before. Ideally we want to iron it out. Annunciation panel pressed to test, so we can do the gear save thing as well, so that's all in the green. We've got no alerts. These little red lights here are for the fuel pumps, if you do have fuel pumps on, so it might also come up with overboost if you've got them on. They're usually used for cold and dark starts when you can't get oil around the engine, so we may have been better off using those today as well. Annunciation panel is checked. Altimeter is not set yet, so let's get that. Standard pressure temp, it's actually already set as standard pressure, that's pretty convenient. Clock DG, mixtures, propellers, quadrant friction, alternate air, cowl flaps open, seatbelts secured and erected. Wing flaps are not going to be set today. This will be a clean configuration. I'll be using up to 39 inches of manifold with full props forward. Trim is set. Controls are free, full travel. Auxiliary fuel pumps off, computer heat is required. We aren't going to need it today, so we'll go straight for the takeoff. Let's get our landing lights on and our strobes. Let's get our transponder on. These are things the checklist won't tell you, that's why it's the advanced checklist. So if you really want, it's assumed actually that you need to know some of the basics, which is unfair, I think, for newer pilots, especially if they want to just jump into a plane like this. Right, we secure the magnetos, the fuel pumps are off. Flight controls, free and full movement on all. Parking brake released. Almería traffic Lima Victor India Quebec Golf, departing runway 07 to the northeast. Alright guys, onwards we go. So 07 on the course, on the heading, and 054 for that course for the actual airport as well. Okay, let's go. We're clear. We're going to put 39 inches, 40 max. You see there the power rising. Slowly apply it. Don't rush it. You want a smooth takeoff. There we go. She's coming alive. So there's 60. And rotate. Positive rate. Gears coming up. We're going to keep the low nose a little bit lower today because it's hot weather. So we need to keep... Plus with VFR, so we need to see where we're going. We need 100 on the climb out. We're going to be climbing out quite fast today, straight into the cruise climb. Straight up to 6,000 feet. Okay, now we're out. We can tune the heading bug to 054. And we could do the course to the VOR as well. So this is the one we're going to be tracking outbound from. It might be a different direction. So as you can see there, so we'll do a right hand turn and we'll get on track. Still using Simheaven Scenery, by the way. I still haven't uninstalled it. So I'm really enjoying it lately. Certainly brings the places to life. Okay, there's the heading. We're directly pushing away now from the VOR. Should be able to keep tracking. As you can see, I'm actually hands-off flying most of this, so it's very, very calm weather. This is actually ideal conditions for it. Anyway, we are in the air, so we're going to pull the cow flaps up. This will give us a little bit more speed, I guess, because we get less drags, and we'll bring those back to 2450 on the RPM. Bring the manifold back to 31. This will give us the cruise climb power setting. We probably don't have to lean the mixtures just yet, and when we do get to cruise, we'll lean them for 18 gallons per hour. So about 9 gallons each. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the heading bug. We'll do it to the direction we're flying. I'm going to do the vertical speed mode and let the plane just fly itself for a sec. So flaps are up, the landing lights are off, control wheel is ease back to rotate. Yeah, we've done all that. So the climb checklist. So mixtures are full rich, 2450, 31.5 on the manifold, and about 102. So we could probably get a little bit of a higher climb rate actually, and make the most of these conditions. So best angle 76, best rate 89. Cow flaps closed, that's pretty much it. Cow flaps is required in climb. I'd say close them if you want the extra speed. If you want less drag, it'll help considerably. Alright guys, we're on the way, so we're going to fly via Ibiza. Just admire all this scenery. I mean, obviously we've got custom houses and buildings, but the actual modelling of the surfaces is still the laminar research. And by the way, I also had somebody ask a question: will the Simheaven cause issues with Orbex Spain? That's not the reason I'm flying here today, but I'm pretty sure that you can use it with Orbex, which is something that people do all the time. It's like a really common, popular combination to use the Simheaven scenery with the Orbex landscaping. And as I say, as long as Simheaven's placed above Orbex in the files, then it shouldn't be an issue. You usually get 8 files with Simheaven, and then there'll be an order default at least. And if they're not in order, you can order the 1 to 8. If they're below Orbex will be coming through, and you got to remember that X-12 scenery will also be in there as well, so take account of that. I haven't got Orbex. I have been looking at it. I've also been looking at, I think, is it Orbex UK? Someone mentioned. Yes, I think it was Paul who mentioned it. So I will try out Orbex UK if they ever go on sale. Or if it's the free one, I can't remember. I have to check the comments. So it's 5,000 feet. Climbing like an absolute rocket today. Usually you don't expect that, as I said, when it's a little bit on the cold side, but hot weather's giving it a boost as well. Yeah, so I 100% looked at Orbex, just looked at the comments as well. I really wanted to try it, but I think the price is a bit too high for me. Plus the size of the space you're going to need on the computer. But yeah, if you are using it with Simheaven, perfect combination. And if you fly to places like Courchevel, if you have the Europe scenery, it will actually give you the proper gradient and proper slope at the airport, so you don't have to worry about changing any of the things there. It will give you the proper one, whereas X-Plane 12, it does a good job, but it is relatively flat. Anyway, we have 500 feet to go. Let's just reduce our ascent rate here. And I'm going to be looking for 18 gallons at 55% power with 2300 RPM, so we'll change that in the cruise. Transition for Almería, so we're tracking outbound from this now. The VOR is about 6,000 feet. We'll leave it on standard pressure, which is what it's at. So there we are, outbound. We also have an NDB if you're interested in that stuff, and we'll be tracking all the way to the small island. What we can do actually select, oh no we can't because we're going the other way. We could turn it like the arrow the other way, so we could do that and then push navigation mode, so it will follow the arrow away from it. So let's try that, navigation mode, and we'll just push it. Sorry, I think this is pulling. I can't remember that. I can't remember pushing or pulling it. We are pushing it away anyway. 6,000 feet. And the autopilot comes on to altitude hold. Okay, relatively fast, so we can bring that power right back on the RPM now, 2300. (6,000 feet). Oh, it's about 30 inches of manifold pressure. I don't know what I read before. I thought it was lower than that. Oh no, it is lower than that, excuse me. It's 25.4. That's as lowest, the lowest manifold I've ever had in a cruise, so 25.4. It's a really cool little plane to fly, and so we're going to now do the leaning mixtures and things. You wouldn't want to lean the mixtures first until you got your power set and you can see what your fuel burn is. So we got about 9 gallons per each to burn, so let's pull it right back. And as you can see there, we're using minimal power. Right back to 9 because that's how much we calculated for. And that's as easy as that, guys. What a beautiful day to go flying in Spain. I really appreciate the surprise update last night by Laminar as well. I have noticed, I know there was a performance boost, but I've noticed like a GPU boost now, so my GPU's not been, don't know what the word, it's not been tested as much, it's not been struggling as much. That might just be because the airplane is small as well. Anyway, let's go back here, let's check out the cabin. It's a very nice cabin. These seats especially, these have got the old flight sim look to them. They are very nice. They got the custom little feet rest down here with the Jetstream logo. Not my favourite interior colour. It is a little bit dull. I like the Oxford Aviation one. It's got the blue inside, but this is, I'd say it's definitely region specific. It certainly looks like something from South America or Mexico or something. Or God forbid, the 60s in general. A bit of wobble just getting there. Okay, there's some clouds. This is what we want to avoid in VFR conditions. So the VFR rules officially are to see the ground or keep eye contact with the ground. Usually we won't be able to fly above a certain altitude, and you won't be able to fly into restricted airspace. Usually. I say usually, I'm sure pilots do it all the time by accident, and you shouldn't fly through clouds. So aside from seeing the ground, you need to see in front. This is not too bad, but we're going to sit the weather radar in case we get any more. There may be a big cluster up ahead we can't see. And I actually programmed it in as 164 for the cruise, but we're going quite slow, so we got a DME thing in here somewhere. So there it is, it's only 148. Touched on this before actually, so temperatures are 0, that's why, so we need to crank that up. Temperature is a little bit above 0. But yeah, you'll never get really up to this zone in cruise unless you've got maximum power. Fantastic. And as you can see, we're perfectly tracking away. We have 60 nautical miles, so we have about another, 70 or 80 to go. I'll let you guys relax, enjoy it, and check in when we're a bit closer. Just realised, everybody, we are tracking the VOR, but we need to track to course of 054. So let's go heading mode again, which we were on initially. We'll go 054. Otherwise, we're just going to be tracking slightly in the wrong direction. So we need to get back on course. It's things like that, and you will end up going. That is quite a big distance there in terms of heading, so that would send you literally 100 miles in the wrong direction. We don't want to do that. We don't want to end up in somewhere like Morocco, which is somewhere I actually wanted to fly to today, Morocco. And we will take the old, Lima Victor to South America again at some point. There are some cool airports there. There's one in particular which is, I'd say, even more challenging than Courchevel, even more challenging than places like St. Bart's. And not just size-wise either, you've got the mountains to contend with. Tried it in the Citation X, but it just went absolutely awfully. Surprised it didn't crash. I didn't crash, but it just went so awful. Anyway, weather radar's coming on. You're probably not going to show too much. So, on. Zoom out. So cruising reference to performance charts, Teledyne Continental Operating Manual, and power stage disabled. So we're using this thing over here. This is really, really convenient. This has everything on it. It also has a takeoff checklist and a landing checklist as well. So we don't actually have to look down here for landing and takeoff if we don't want to. Well, I don't know. Navajo, is it Navajo? They're going to be bringing that out soon, hopefully, and that will be probably just as good. But we can't know for sure. Anyway, that's it on the cruise chat list. Let's get rid of the tablet a little bit. Try and push it out of the way. think what we need to do, because there's too many clouds at 060, I wasn't expecting this, we're now going to have to probably climb above, so we are already at standard pressure, we're just sort of pushing into them, and we're having to divert round as well, which is not ideal. So I think in 7,000 feet, maybe 8,000 feet might be a little bit better. We'll wait and see how it is when we get back on course. If it's still like this, we'll go up a couple of thousand feet. We'll stick at 55%, so 8,000 it would be just a little bit more power, 0.2, if you're into the numbers sort of thing. And if you're into the fuel planning, of course, on these streams I have started to integrate the fuel planning, so it's a great way to learn it. Runway 054. Yeah, Almería, ancient port city. It is from the 9th century, so it was founded in 955. Unbelievable, over 1,000 years ago. Obviously, initially it says it was becoming a world city throughout the 11th and 12th centuries and enjoyed active port. They traded silk, oil and raisins, so some of those things would probably, a lot of those things would have been from eastern countries, so from the sort of oriental side of things. And then it was brought to an end in 1147 with the conquest of the city by a Christian coalition. So there's like the old crusades back then as well, or very, very similar. Control over Almería switched hands over the rest of the Middle Ages, and in the early modern period, and the early modern period is something that I'm interested in. It's a really interesting period in the European history. There's so much change, and especially places like Italy, if you read about it, you know, during the Renaissance. And anyway, during the early modern period, there's a lot of interesting changes going on in Europe. With the onset of Barbary, I hope I pronounced that, Barbary piracy, the ethnic cleansing of Moriscos in the Kingdom of Granada, several natural calamities, urban decay accrued. Oh, they've worded that sentence very wildly, haven't they? Anyway, 19th century reactivation of mining activity led, in the hinterland, fostered commercial activity and demographic growth. That's good. So they eventually, you know, not eventually, but they developed a sort of industry-specific things. And with the amount of coal they've been pulling on those train sims, it'd be nice to transport some in the air at least, but we'd have to fly a big cargo plane for that. Yeah, mining back into lead. So, if anybody doesn't know as well, it's in Andalusia. That is the region, and it's connected to Granada and in Andalusia via roads, etc. So I would like to fly there a little bit more. And of course, you've got Morocco just to the south as well. And it is served by a medium-sized airport and a port, you know, a ship port with growing specialisation in passenger and railroad transport with the north of Africa. So that'd be Algeria and Morocco. And that is, in fact, very close to, it's not very close, but it's along the south coast where Gibraltar would be, and that is, so you have Gibraltar a little bit further to the west, and Gibraltar sort of parallels Ceuta, I hope I'm pronouncing it correct, and that is also a, you know, very common crossing there for ships as well. The distance between the two is tiny, absolutely tiny. But yeah, Almería, one of those grand places. Granada, just a little bit west. Gibraltar, Malaga, San Fernando. And then if you go east, obviously where we're going, we have the island of Ibiza, or the airport of Ibiza, and Alicante, Valencia. You know, all the important Spanish cities, Barcelona, and of course Palma de Mallorca in its own island as well. So a lot of places down here which are actually not just worth flying to, but probably worth visiting as well. And I'll try and do a bit more Spanish VFR, because I know that I've given a lot of love to other countries like Spain, not Spain, to France and UK, but not to Spain. So we will give a little bit more aviation appreciation down here at some point. And of course, there's one of those ships. Never grin. Thank you, Laminar. We will remember that. Some really fascinating history in Valencia as well. Really, just another important city. I can't wait to get there. It's going to be amazing. I'm not sure about Ibiza. The only thing we know Ibiza for is the... Unfortunately, I only know it's a pie destination. That is it. I don't think that's the only thing it's known for, though. But it probably is nowadays. Things have changed, haven't they? Also, since the update, this... I don't know, it just stands out more. The saturation and the textures do look just superb. I really can't believe over the last year just how far X-Plane 12 has come. When I initially started, it was good, but it wasn't fantastic, and it certainly wasn't this good. The weather system wasn't this good either. The overhauls in the last year to the engines, to the aircraft in particular, to the, you know, everything, every aspect has it's definitely made it one of the better sims. I really do think this is better than Microsoft, and I know we don't want to start that debate again, but flight physics wise, you just cannot beat it. And this level of detail, this these handcrafted aircraft that we buy, absolutely fantastic. Let's leave it there. Let's leave the view on the cockpit dashboard. Okay, folks, just a quick check-in. Thank you for being patient. This is a really relaxing flight. Nice little Zen edition of Spain VFR in the Piper Seneca II. We're cruising along the coast, the south coast of Spain. It is fantastic weather as suspected. We're at 6,000. It is a little bit chilly at 6,000, but nice views of the mountains and just the general area. There's a lot of places there where we can go and have a good look around. Some nice city there. What city is that? Is that the one I'm thinking? Yes, it is. So that'll be a main city. His name I can't pronounce, of course. But yeah, another major city there. Anyway, we're checking in because we're sort of coming up to 100 miles. So we're still getting that VOR from the other station at the departure at Almería. As you can see there, it's still tracking it. If it was a red nav flag, it would mean it's not tracking it. What I'm going to do then is try the 117.8, and we'll go over to the IBA, which is the Ibiza VOR. Let's try that. So you can see the red flags come up. We're actually too far from it, which is a surprise, because this one's lasted 76 nautical miles. I did say about 100 to be fair, and then we would be able to switch them over. I'm also just thinking, I know we've only planned for 6,000 feet, and we're sort of burning through quite a lot of fuel here, but maybe we could adjust the altitude and maybe adjust speed a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe 65% power, and that will give us about 30 inches of manifold. We just need to crank the manifold up a little bit. And we also need to crank the fuel flow up to 20 gallons. So if we got about 25 each, that will give us just over an hour. The question is, are we going to get there in an hour? Let's see how it goes. So anyway, and see how we can pick the VOR up. If we are still not doing very good on time, I'll try and get it sped up a little bit. But yeah, nice little relaxing flight. We can enjoy just the cockpit and the scenery and the sounds, I guess. Just sit back, relax. Fall asleep to the flight if you're in nighttime. And there it is, everybody. So the flag is now popping up. As you can see, we're now getting to the boundary. So it's actually quite a VOR distance and a half, that. 100 miles, just about, before it actually loses signal. That's a lot better than the NDB. The NDB doesn't pick up till 20 miles, I think it is. Probably less than that. Anyway, we're going to switch now, 1178. Still red, but we know that it's in that direction. And we'll still be following the 054 course. So we'll wait for it to come alive. If we go back again, this thing is sort of in and out, so it's not going to be much use. You see there, it's not alive at all. We'll wait for it to gain consciousness again before we try it, i.e. before we look at it. So let's change this to 054. We could actually use that, so this is something I forgot about. This, I don't actually know what that frequency is. Oh, it's down here, of course, nav 2. So what actually we can do now is tune... I mean, it's a little bit early, but we could theoretically tune in the VLC for Valencia, which is a 116.1, and that would just give us like a help us to remember it, and also we can follow that. I might actually follow that to the Valencia one. We'll keep it on our current course. It won't come alive yet, of course, because we're well too far. In terms of where we actually are, well, we're over the sea. We've just gone past probably Alicante soon. There's no GPS. There is an option though. You can use a GCN 750, XI 750 if you want, or the GNS 430. This is a really cool little thing, and it's one of the few JA planes that doesn't shove a GPS in your face and expect you to use it. It provides very minimal GPS guidance. This radio stack though is pretty much all you need. You only need VOR 1 and 2. You need a head-in, you need a bit of pilot skill, maybe navigational skills if I'm being perfectly honest. Yeah, so we're at the halfway point to Ibiza. The halfway point to Ibiza is probably also going to be the halfway point to Valencia as well, because Valencia's not very far from us at all. It's about I don't want to say too far. It is quite far still, but you get what I mean. Anyway, looking at the airspace in Ibiza, it's not too bad. It's not too controlled either. We'll look on the charts. Let's do that now. Let's look on the charts, right? So there's LEAM, our departure. Okay, I think we could type it in. Yes, so we can type it in, and that will give us a reference. So sometimes it'll be here, so there's got an obstacle chart, they've got an aerodrome data, which will be useful sometimes. It might just be a picture of the airport. No, so it's not that one. In that case, we'll just use the aerodrome chart, excuse me, just see what the situation is. So sometimes, as I say, sometimes charts will have the aerospace on them for references, things like that, or you might have to go onto an arrival or an approach just to see what the airspace is. Let's check the arrival. So we're heading 06. Here we are down here. So yeah, it is pretty much largely uncontrolled. We have this region down here, which is, you know, it's really open basically. I don't think we have any ATC worries unless we're actually going to land there, and even then it seems to just be like tower controls rather than region control. I'll let me check on the radar as well and see what that says. So nobody's there to give us ATC. Let's just go silent, sit back, relax, and check them when we're closer. We'll probably just turn outbound to Valencia as soon as we get there. Can see the island in the distance. It's been a bit longer than I expected, everybody. I thought it would be quicker than this. Oh well, I think the flight should be a little bit over 2 hours then. Possibly 2.5. Yeah, thank you for enjoying the flight. It's been nice and relaxing to sit and just observe the plane really. It's handling it well. Calm winds all the way. I'm just checking the METAR data as well for Valencia. Oh, METAR Central's down. That's interesting. Let's try METAR TAF. So VFR conditions all the way there. Got VFR in Ibiza as well and in Valencia. So we're going to come into the island and basically just skim over it. I can just about see it there, so I don't know if you can see it there. Just a little bit of the mountains and things. A little bit of those rocks. So I've gone down to 5,000 feet because I want to get a better view of it. There's also some clouds there. Maybe we'll go down to 4,000 feet actually and try and get a better view of the train. I want to try and at least pass over the airport. The airport should be located right in front of us. So we obviously the VFR is right at the airport. Now we have got to be aware of departing planes. We've only got one plane there at the moment, a British Airways A320, which is actually just arrived from London Heathrow, so that's pretty cool. And of course Ibiza. So that's a very strange layout. There's some big, like, I don't know if it's a ship port or roads, but there's a lot of strange lines in this space on the map where there should be a lake. We'll see what it's like overhead. We have how far do we have? Let's check the DME. So we go down here. So this thing here is the DME distance measuring equipment, and that is saying 25 miles, 157. So we have sped up probably because we're descending. We'll go down to 4. We can keep the weather radar on. We have the 1161 tuned in. So what we'll do is we'll switch. We could technically just switch over to that now because or keep it on here. If we wanted to switch over to the main one, that wouldn't be a problem because we're on heading mode. What we're going to do is turn this to though, and this will give us the course to Valencia. So when we do a flyover, we should be able to pick it up. We'll be flying roughly, yeah, basically at a right angle to what we're flying now, and that should give us the correct course for the airport. So we'll keep descending, so 3,000 feet might be more suitable. Beautiful little island. It's just a shame it's so far from the mainland. You know, if you do want a day out here in a piston plane or a twin piston, sure the twin piston's faster. I mean, if we'd gone in the Baron, granted the Baron probably would have been here by, you know, half an hour ago, because Baron can go up to 200 easily. This thing is really slow. I'm not sure why they call it a fast twin. The Baron, as I say, is super fast, and that's not even turbocharged. So for me, the Baron is still number one. Still number one in that competition. There it is. So Simheaven Scenery, and we have obviously the default ships. You'll notice as well, aside from looking more region specific, they're also more spaced. I do like the colours and the, you know, the fact that they're more accurate. It makes it look a bit more like Spain. Some higher mountains there, and that is the airport, guys. So we're about to do our left-hand turn. Let's go ahead and change our course thing to this direction. We're going to tune it into the navigation 1 as well. So we'll put 116.1. There we go. So it's about that direction, and that's where we'll be turning. Coming up to 3,000. We should be clear of the terrain. I don't really know how high up it is. Let's check the map. Oh, 20 feet. That's not too bad. But we don't know what the region is, so we don't really know what... That's kind of what I was hoping would be here, the mountain sides and the alert. There's something here we might best use. So there's the airport. These little ridges at the side here, 3,000 feet. Right, well, that's the altitude we're going to. What a beautiful place. And there's the aircraft. Maybe he's planning another flight out of here. So 06 is straight ahead. You can see all that shimmering and fuzziness now. It's more noticeable. I really don't know what they've done to it. It's affected the... it's made this a lot worse. A lot worse than what he was at. I don't know if that's like anti-aliasing or something, but it looks awful. It's shimmering all over the place. It looks silver. The entire map looks silver. The sky's not too bad, it's just the ground. That's not Simheaven causing that, guys. That'll be the update. Anyway, so we see in the airport. I know we've not been able to fly over, but we want to continue on, don't we, to Valencia. So let's go ahead and do a course change. So we do heading mode, and we'll probably climb back up to 6,000 feet. Of those engines, absolutely gorgeous. Classic GA aviation, it's absolute best. It really is. Spectacular. I think the plane sims will always be the most popular plane, the most popular type of sim ever. I mean, aside from being physically, like physics-wise superior, they're just absolutely on another level. There are a lot of other sims out there. You got train sims and trucker sims, etc. And we'll be trying a trucker sim tonight, but plane sims will just generally be at the top of the league. They're always superior in many respects, and they're always a lot more complicated as well. Right, here we are, we're on course. So we've not got the DME distance yet. That's fine. We can pick it up on this thing down here, although we have got a red flag as well, but it was in that general direction we needed to turn. Let's do a little bit more. And it'd be back up to 6,000 feet. So we're going to bring up the manifold, so we'll bring it to 31 inches for the cruise climb. Vertical speed, and we'll do a nice steady climb so we don't lose too much of the airspeed. Maybe 500 feet a minute. let's push. Actually, let's push the tail. Now we've got the 116.1. Let's push the 117.8 on number 2. Southern Decimal. We'll push that away from us on a course of, officially, a course of 29. No, there is no course. What am I talking about? Sky Vectors gave me... Oh, it did give me a course of 293. So 293 on the outbound. We turn that to 293. You'll see it should change. That's 293 about there. It won't be perfect just yet. We only have 84 nautical miles to go, so not too far, everyone. We're pretty much nearly there, another 20 minutes or so. Yeah, so most of the VOR navigation today, I think we are indeed pulling the tail. I hope that's correct. I really hope I got it in the right direction. Anyway, Valencia in Spain, another major city in Spain, one of the third excuse me, third biggest cities actually, with a population of quite a lot actually, of roughly 800,000, bit more, and then the urban area of Valencia 1.6 million. I'm of course just reading this straight from the article. Same, very much same as Almeria. Previous Islamic rule and acculturation issued in the 8th century, so a little bit before Almeria, together with the introduction of new irrigation systems, and then as time went on, the Aragonese Christian conquest in 1238. So very similar to Almeria, Spain, you know, going through that transition period. The city did become the capital kingdom of Valencia. That's interesting. And there's some really good locations and just points of interest. You've got the City of Arts and Sciences, Torres de Serrans, places like that. You know, really fantastic architecture, which is standing after all these decades and centuries. Some of them are absolutely magnificent. The City Hall in Valencia, I'm just looking at the picture now, looks absolutely stunning. It's almost like a castle. You can see a lot of the Oriental influences in the architecture as well. Anyway, due to its trade with the rest of the Iberian Peninsula, a place that we could probably fly in a bit more, Italian ports in other Mediterranean locations, so again tying in with that sort of post-modern period, or early modern period, excuse me, post-Renaissance era. The city thrived in the 15th century as expected, and Valencia became one of the largest European cities by the end of the century. So yeah, it still very much is a huge city, but people don't seem to know about it as much. I know people have heard of the main ones. You've got Alicante, you've got Barcelona, but Valencia, is it really up there? I'd say even Andalusia is more well known, because people go there a lot. Yeah, Alicante, Barcelona, Malaga, Gibraltar, they're all. Andorra, you know, the one we flew through last week, the B city, I can't even pronounce it, excuse me. The Atlantic world affected the Mediterranean trade and the global trade networks, along with insecurity created by Barbary piracy. So that same thing again with the piracy throughout 16th century. And if anybody's wondering, the Barbary, I think that's just barbaric, another word for barbaric. Barbary corsairs in the 1600s, battles with them. Algerian pirate ships. Yeah, so the Barbary corsairs, also known as the Barbary pirates, Ottoman corsairs, or naval, strange word which I can't say, were mainly Muslim corsairs, privateers who operated from the North African coast, so Morocco, along there. Known in Europe as the Barbary Coast, in addition to seizing merchant ships, they engaged in razzias, raids on European coastal towns and villages, mainly in Italy, France, Spain and Portugal, as well as Britain, Ireland and Iceland. So they were quite prolific then throughout the 1600s to the 17th century. Insane. That would have been a hard life then if you, not only if you seize the land from that kind of a system, but then you've got to contend with future battles against them. And also, the same as Almeria, the city of Valencia became a major silk manufacturing centre in the 18th century. So that's another. That seems to be the main thing, basically, silk. And silk would have been used to make garments and clothing. Probably quite expensive back then. And during the Civil War, the city served as provisional seat of the Spanish government, but that's not very important. It was the port city again, so another port right on the coastline. One of the busiest container ports in Europe and the Mediterranean, and the city is ranked as a Gamma level global city by the Globalization of World Cities. Not sure what that means, but I'm sure, you know, I think that may mean that it's like higher up more superior. We've just gone into IFR conditions, so enough of history. We'll try and fly the plane. We are still climbing up to 8,000 feet, so that's what happens when pilots get distracted. We get thrown into IFR conditions. Let's go back down. I'll bring that down to 20. Is it 24 for 6,000 feet? 55 at 6,000, 25.4. Apologies about that, everybody. I completely forgot we were climbing. So forward in the history that I forgot to fly the plane. And of course, the symbol of Valentia, as it's called, is a Roman cornucopia found on the floor of a Roman building excavated in a building. Very interesting. I'll try and pronounce it. It was found in the Roman building excavated in the Plaga della Mare de Deu. If you are interested in that, you want to know a little bit more about the cities and the ancient history or the medieval history, then I'll post it in chat for you. You can go ahead and check it out. So that's the name of the building. I think that may be an S, Plaza della Mare de Deu. Again, not Spanish, not Italian, just purely English. We'll see how, if there's any comments what they say. Anyway, what we're doing on distance, we've got 50 miles. Do we need to plan an approach or anything? So we'll go off, we'll type in the destination. I wonder if it'll recognise it if we put Valencia in. No, it doesn't recognise it. There you go, so we have a heliport popping up. That's odd. We just get the ICAO off of Sky Vectors. LEVC. LEVC. And we'll maintain that rather than change the altitude because I'm clearly not paying attention to it. Anyway, bring that back up. LEVC, so we have no weather information. This tends to keep happening on Chart Fox, but we do have an ILS. Again, with visual flight rules, so we'll probably just do a visual approach in London. We might even just intercept the downwind and just go straight for a base. So we've got other charts here. We have got some no reference charts. Arrival, so we're going into... Again, the wind. Let me get the wind off the meter. Okay, so weather station. It actually is cool. So if you use Sky Vectors, if you simply hover your mouse over the waypoint, it will come up with the METAR data. So we got 120 at 10 knots, 090 visibility 150, Kavik 20 over 3 degrees, QNH 1015. So it's a 120 at 10 knots, 120 with QNH 1015. Okay. So it looks like a runway 12 for London. And we are coming in this direction, so we're below 10,000. Although it does say there, if we're coming in on this arrival between 10 and 19. There's the VOR which we're tracking, the 116.1. Let's just check our track on that actually, so we're still on it. We're still pushing that one away from us, but we don't need it at this point anyway. Yeah, we don't really need this. Well, maybe we do actually, because it's a major airport. Maybe we would be expected to come in for a SID or a star or something like that. For a star, excuse me. Most of the time you can do it visually, it's not a problem. And a lot of the times it will tell you the airspace. I'm hoping to find that somewhere. We're allowed to anyway, so we'll go straight. We'll just do a straight approach then runway 10. airport map. There's an arrival chart as well. Okay, we'll come down and we'll probably get off by here if we can make it, or maybe this one, and there's the VOR again. We could taxi apron 4 or apron south apron there. We won't go into the terminal, so yeah, definitely right hand turn out. This probably is GA parking as well. How are we doing on fuel? Fuel is not too bad, just below 20, below 18 I'd say on each engine. And there is now ATIS and ground control there, brilliant. So we can get online and we can get some ATC. Okay, it's going to save a lot of hassle. We do have the QNH and things already, but we're tuning them in, so it'll be a... just climbing over the clouds there, everybody. ATIS tuning, let's do this. So LEVC ground, 121. This is for the ATIS, 08.
Time 1400.
And then 121.
Zulu. Departure run. Arrival runway 12. Expect ILS Zulu approach runway 12. Wind 120 at 10. Wind variable between 090 and 150. Cat OK. Temperature 20. Dew point 3. QNH 1015. Trend. No significant changes. Transition level 70. This was Mount 8's information Alpha. Advise on initial contact. You have information Alpha. This is Manizes Airport 8's information Alpha. At time 1400 Zulu. Departure runway 12. Arrival runway 12. Expect ILS Zulu approach runway 12. Wind 1200. Wind variable between 090 and 150. Cat OK. Temperature 20. Dew point 3. QNH 1015. Trend. No significant changes. Transition level 70. This was Manizes Airport 8's information Alpha. Advise on initial contact. You have information Alpha.
Information Alpha. So I just realised we probably can't contact the ground until we're on the ground. We'll give him information Alpha when we touch down. We'll have to plan then. We'll plan visually, but we'll use the ILS. It said Zulu, didn't it? So let's just see what the arrival approach. ILS Zulu runway 12. Okay, so we need to be at 3700. Charts in Spain getting a little bit more complicated. Poland still beats the rest as being the most simple to read. So here we are, we have a long approach. There's another VOR. We also have the VOR on the airport itself on a course of 116 with final. Quite a high up approach. I'm just going to do a left on traffic and we'll make in for the ILS. Not too bad. Trying to keep it together. Keeping our VFR Spain nice and positive. As I say earlier, I'm looking forward to these flights. We've done VFR England to some extent. VFR Spain will be on the agenda next. I'll still fly in France because that's one of my favourites. Yeah, overall, well, thank you, Gelmore. I hope you are as well, and I hope if you're on X-Plane 12, you're having some good flights. We've just done an update last night, 12.4.1. You know what, let's just go back down. So we're descending down to 4,000 feet. We've got the 1015 pressure. We'll leave the power settings where it is. We'll bring up the checklist. So I keep doing it in the pop-up window, but we can of course use this thing down here if we need to. I'll keep the charts open for the ground movement. Well, we've already pre-planned it, and we don't need an arrival chart. Let's go back. Let's go on to... Is it chart? Yeah, this one. So we got cruising, descent. So usually we just say enrich with descent. Throttles, keep that in the cruise setting, and then cow flaps closed. So we probably will crack them open the moment we get down. Mixtures, we want to keep it as close to 9 as possible. It does say enrich with descent. What are we going to get at 4,000 feet then? So 4,000 feet with 2300 is about 27 inches of manifold, and that's 27 inches, so we just need to push the manifold forward a little bit. We'll do that, we'll push it forward to 27, and that should automatically increase the fuel flow. We'll do it a little bit more. We could probably afford to burn a little bit more fuel now. We're getting a bit closer, so we've got on the weight and balance. We've burned over, you know, what do we have? 33 in each. Just over half in each tank has been burned off. Yes, I have. I think even though it's got that like shimmery look to it, it certainly makes it look a lot sharper and crisper. It looks so much more realistic just over the last year. I was saying it earlier. Yeah, definitely. This is if you want to watch my review, you can. But I would say I can't remember if I recommended it. I don't think I did, because there was a few, like graphically, there was a few problems with it. But since the X-Plane 12.4 update, 12.4.1, it hasn't been as bad to look at. Some of the graphics aren't great, so I guess if you're gonna get it on sale. Anyway, let's slow our descent. We want to be heading opposite one to the runway we're landing, so we'll turn to just off course of the VOR to about 300. You can see over here, so if we change that to the ILS frequency, we'll still have this over here as the reference. This is now ILS, and then this VOR thing is for the VOR, of course. I keep calling it the VOR thing. There is a name for that. It's just a compass. Just slightly off. And of course through clouds again. Hey, there she is, there's Spain again. It feels like years ago since we were here. All the way down the southern coast, out to Ibiza, a little bit out of the way, and then finally back to civilization. It does look great, and we're still, by the way, Gelmore, if you didn't hear, we are still using the Simheaven scenery, so no more of that default X-Plane scenery. We should be able to see the airport as well. There's the city, it looks fantastic. And this is that thing I was talking about, so it does seem like ship ports, and they will be modelled now with this Simheaven. That's 4,000 feet. We We are imminently inbound. The airport literally should be out at 12 o'clock. We're going to make a left-hand traffic, which means we'll be on the right side of the runway. I really hope we can see it soon so I can see how far we need to get away from the runway, because with these engines on the side you do have to keep quite the distance in order to see it on things like base leg and final turns. It is a bit difficult. I think it's there. I don't know though, it's just blank shimmeriness. Go down to the checklist. So we've done our descent checklist. This is old though. This is revised from 1983. I'm pretty sure they could have got a more up-to-date document than that. So approach and landing, we'll do that next. Yeah, I'm the same, Jelmore. I said I wanted to do more US flights and some perhaps in South America, but I just keep coming back to Europe, and now I've dedicated myself to doing more Spain as well. But yeah, I think that's the problem. When you're from Europe or England or something, or from America, you just tend to stick with the places that you know. I do recommend it though. You should come over and do a flight with me sometime, and we'll get on the network together. Still can't get over how much of an improvement Simheaven is, and I can't believe it's still not challenging my system. My computer's genuinely not struggling. That looks absolutely fantastic. If you are considering X-Plane 12, there's a free demo available. This is add-on scenery, but it's freeware. Paul, if you are watching this on replay or live, highly recommend it if you are going to get it. I mean, look at that. We have actually got Spanish looking buildings. It's a miracle. It is a miracle. It just looks so fantastic. Okay, back over. Where is the airport though? That's kind of what we need. We're a plane today, not a train. I'm gushing, chat. I am gushing over the scenery. It's unbelievable. We've even got a football stadium down there. Let's go for an external shot. Actually, what we need to do is check where the airport is. Ah, there it is. So it's just over to our left-hand side, apparently. Can't see it yet. Cannot see it. Yes, I can. I can see it. We got visual. Okay, now we can start prepping for that downwind. Let's do an external shot of the city and just take in Valencia, the third largest city in Spain. A huge previously huge shipping port with specializations in silk. That is definitive X-Plane 12 right there. That is absolutely gorgeous. Isn't that just like every flight simmer's dream? train stations, stadiums, accurately modelled roads and buildings, and a fantastic plane as well.
Minus 0 and 150. OK. Temperature 20. Dew point 3. QNH 1015. Trend. No significant changes. Transition level 70. Man is Airport 8 is Information Alpha. Advise on initial contact. Information Alpha.
Still Information Alpha. Let's go over to the 1228. Welcome in Flight Quest. Favourite sound 2-engine glory. Indeed, it really is glorious. I'm so grateful to have this experience right now. It just feels very unique. Extremely unique. I wouldn't have had this 20 years ago. Anyway, let's get the checklist done. So we do our approach landing checklist now because we're on the base. I have reduced power. As you can see there, speed is dropping off. Gear warning horn is checked. Airspeed is 98 on downwind leg. We'll be reducing that now, so it's coming down. Seatbelts erected, seatbelts secured like seatbelts harnesses, fastened, fuel selectors on, cowl flaps closed, auxiliary fuel pumps off, mixture controls rich, 2250, right, let's reduce it down. And we'll enrich in the mixtures to fully rich. And then we want 87, so airspeed 97 on base leg, and we'll probably set the gear down as well. And then we have 87 on final. Yeah, we're full flaps. Okay, bear with me. Let's get on with it. We don't need to worry about any of the checks now. We know what the go-around procedures are. We know what the landing procedure is. As you can see there, the high engine does block the runway. So my recommendation is you can cheat. It's up to you how you fly it. You can use the X-Plane 12 map, or you can simply guess. 3,700 feet with the ILS. Let's get the course on the right course. So we want a course of 116. Got to go run to... Oh, have a good day, Gelmore. I hope it goes well. Yeah, you too. Thank you. I hope work's not going to be too tedious. 228. Let's go ahead and drop a notch of flaps. Nice and stabilised. Weather radar's coming off VFR conditions. Valencia traffic, Lima Victor Indigo Quebec Golf is downwind runway 12 for the visual approach, full stop landing. You can clean up the ATC as well, so I probably could have just said I'm downwind for a full stop landing, runway 12 or runway 12. Excuse me, runway 12, not 12. Transponding to stay where it is. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else we need to do here? Probably not. Let's take control and we'll hand fly this. Keep an eye on the map at the same time. We want it to be, from what I recall from my lessons, we do need it to be about that point before we make the turn. So is it that point? It is about that point, so that is our base leg turn. We're going to start descending. We're going to bring the power back now between 15 and 2000 RPM. Excuse me, manifold. Now with the Piper Seneca, it is a heavy twin, so it will sink pretty rapidly. Unlike the Baron, actually, the Baron doesn't tend to sink even with idle power. It just tends to get a little bit heavier. Okay, so there we are, descending nice and steady. I'm going to keep the ILS on, ready for the approach. We'll make that base turn. heading bug in the right direction in case we need to do a go around. Use the autopilot. So there's the position we need. We can keep an eye out, drop our wing a little bit if we need to. I think we're a little bit closer. Oh no, we're fine, we're fine. There's the runway. So let's go ahead and get our gear down and we'll get another notch of flaps. Get our landing lights on. And we should be below 3,000, 2,500 by final. What have we got going on wind as well? So wind is pretty calm, a little bit of a crosswind there of about 2 knots, but nothing to worry about. It is different than what I got on the actual meter. I think X-Plane 12 is still having issues with live weather, but it is what it is. Okay, so there's the runway. Do we make the turn now, or is that too early? Probably a little bit too early, isn't it? 500 feet a minute. It's a genuinely steady descent rate, so 2250 was the RPM. We got about 1700 on manifold. Let's go ahead and make the turn. Bring that power back. We're going to push the props fully forward. Mixture's already rich. Hand flying this thing is a joy. It really does handle well. We are slightly off, but we'll get on course. We'll go full flaps. Now we want to be down at below 80 before we land. Oh yeah, there's that crosswind. Valencia traffic, Lima Victor, Indigo Quebec Golf. Final approach runway 12. Coming in a bit too high, a bit too steep. We are technically on the glide slope, or we should be. 111.10. Ah, there we go. Let's switch it to nav so we're above it. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting a bit more stabilised. Short final. Let's go ahead and tune into the ground. Ready for the turnout. 1121880. And again, we're going to use our pitch for speed and power for altitude on this one. Bring the power back, but we don't idle it. We just bring it a little bit back. We wait till we get to ground. And we're down. Smooth touchdown. So you see there, holding the nose off while keeping a bit of power in just to bring the speed down and touch down nice and smoothly. Well, welcome to Valencia, everybody. What an enjoyable experience. Absolutely fantastic. So we flew all the way via Ibiza. I didn't think we'd get here, but we have. So taxi lights on, landing lights off. We'll get the flaps up while we taxi down the runway here. So we want to take the right hand turn. I think we did miss our turn out, but that's fine. Ground maps coming up. Then again, we didn't. We were expecting that towards the VOR. Cow flaps opened. Have we missed it? Am I blind? Oh no, there it is. Tango 2. Just gonna say we're going quite far here. Nice runway, nice airport. It does look quite big as well. You'd hope so for the third biggest city in Spain. Right, we are going to need the charts. I'm going to take a note of our position. We'll hold short here. We're going to do a checklist. Charts. After landing, so clear runway, we got the flaps up, cow flaps open, and alternate air is off. That's pretty quick checklist actually. One thing they don't mention is strobe lights, so obviously get them off after landing when you clear the runway. And a transponder as well could probably come into mode Charlie at this point, rather than mode Sierra, which is altitude. And of course we go back to the charts here. Very useful to use this avatar, and we can see we're parked on, you know, if we look outside, we're on a hotel. I think we're on a hotel. Let's go forward a bit more. We want probably ramp 4 straight ahead of us. That'll be absolutely fine for parking. Valencia ground, Lima Victor, Indigo Quebec Golf, clear of runway 12, request taxi to parking.
Lima Victor, Indigo Quebec Golf, hello, welcome to Valencia. Do you have any stand preference?
Stand preference at the moment, ramp 4 if possible, Lima Quebec Golf.
Ramp 4 like what? Ramp 4 you mean like 4 X-ray? The one that you have in front of you, okay, Julia?
Affirmative.
Okay, and taxi to stand 4 X-ray via Julia, Lima Quebec Golf.
Okay, let me just get the route up here. So it's very, very blurry. I can't really see it. Let me get rid of that. That's kind of in the way a little bit, isn't it? Next in 4 X-ray via Lima Juliet. Lima Victor Indigo Quebec Golf. Very cool. Valencia, nice little airport, nice ATC. I think this is the right way. Let me try one more time on the chart, because it's a little bit outdated on the ground movement stuff. What we needed was an actual space name. Unfortunately, it's not coming up. Ah, is that coming up? Yes, that's kind of the same. Excuse me, everybody's mumbling stuff, trying to figure it out. Yeah, apron 4, ramp 4 was the only thing I could see. Parking dock charts. Nah, we can't use that. That's useless. I still recommend chart, folks, though it's free to use. We'll go down with parking 4 X-rays, it's called, and we'll terminate the sector. Yeah, this is it, so all the way down. Piaggios all day long. Ferrari as well. I think I will keep using this scenery. It is absolutely fantastic. If you are, if you also want me to or you don't want me to, comments are the best place to put it. Complaints in writing, etc. Transponder can come to off at this point or standby. I'm going to turn it off. We don't need it. Weather radar is off. We could technically turn the avionics off at this point as well. Okay, 4 X-ray. This is our... Let me look outside a little bit. 7, 6. Let's do that. Let's turn the avionics off. Let's tune back to 122 and we'll go avionics off. Really flying old school now. They don't even have a radio built in. Imagine that would be quite a challenge, wouldn't it? Flying a plane without a avionics system. I suppose the only thing you would miss out on is the ATC comms. Right, there's somebody in number 4. We'll go in number 3. Parking brake on. Charts. So shut down. We've heater was already off. Final electrical equipment. So radio electrical equipment is off. Avionics off. Mission control idle cut off. Magneto switches. The ignition, in other words, magnetos. Master switch and parking brake. So there are a few items there missing. So we want to turn taxi lights, beacons off. We want to turn off the alternators and batteries. And then we want to go down here. We probably should have done this before we turn the battery off. But turn all the lights off. And turn the fuel flow off as well. Well, there she is. She travelled for over 2.5 hours. She's done very well, this plane. 2 hours 45 is how much endurance we had on board, or how much I told the ATC we had on board. So let's just check how much we've actually burned. We'll get a few covers on and things. Put the chocks on. Magnificent, magnificent plane. Genuinely impressed by its endurance more than anything. Performance, endurance, a lot. Probably could travel the length of Spain in it in one day. Okay, going to the weigh and balance. So we have 10 gallons. We still have plenty of reserves on board. Our reserves today were about half of 2 hours, however much that was. Can't quite remember. But we still got enough there for another go-around if we needed it. Replay time, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll watch the replay. After the replay, I will terminate the flight. It's a pleasure to do it. We will return VFR in Spain and we'll continue using Simheaven and probably fly in the Seneca II as well if we can. This livery in particular.